get a mentor and someone that you really respect. You know, don't take advice from people that you would not change positions with, but find someone that you really respect and spend time with them.
Welcome back to the Full Out Real Estate Agent. Today we're speaking with Sarah Toop. So Sarah runs a phenomenal business. She does on her own over 200 transactions each and every year. She's been doing this consistently. Her and her team do about 275 collectively. Average sale price is 750,000. Her market that she works is Chilliwack, BC. She's the number one agent there for multiple years in a row, and has a really strong, we'll say, mindset, and then accountability is another superpower that Sarah has, and EQ as well. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that and how she's able to do over 200 transactions a year. She has two licensed assistants that are helping her, and some of her team members as well. But it's phenomenal. This is very rare for somebody to be able to do that kind of volume and consistently as well, while maintaining, family and all the rest of it. But Sarah, we're looking forward to the conversation. Thanks for coming on the show.
Awesome. No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
So Sarah, we have something in common. We both grew up on a farm. Maybe take us back to the early beginnings and, what got you into real estate?
Yeah, I mean, early beginnings for me growing up on a dairy farm, like I have been working since I could walk. I would get up early. I think I started on the farm when I was about 5 years old, doing the girl jobs, feeding calves, cleaning out pens and stalls. I always loved working. I loved being busy. That was something that's always, been, part of my personality. I don't sit still very well. And yeah, I just loved growing up on a farm. I think it just taught me a massive level of responsibility from a very young age.
Right on. And was real estate always something you wanted to get into, or what led you into real estate?
Yes. So I have some extended family in real estate. So I kind of grew up, watching my aunts be in real estate. It was not my direct family, my mother or father. But I have a cousin in Winnipeg who's a real estate agent, and then two aunts who are real estate agents in the Vancouver area as well. So it was something that I knew I wanted to do. I just knew I really had to be ready because I don't half ass anything. And I could see it from them being around them my whole life that it was a beyond full-time job.
Hmm. Was there anything else you picked up seeing some of your family members in real estate before you got into the business? Was there anything you identified that you're like, okay, I got to make sure I do this, other than what you had just mentioned?
I love them dearly. There's there are certain traits that I would say, like when you observe people, you're like, okay, I like that about what they're doing. That might not be my style. So I think, picking up some of the good and not necessarily the bad, but just things that, wouldn't be my style, was good. I really, would listen to them on conversations. I would hear them about, what they were doing for their dailies. So I think that was really helpful for me to kind of understand what I was getting myself into when the time came. But I didn't take the decision lightly. Like I got my license when I was 27 years old. And before that, I was in customer service. I've always loved sales and I've always been very good at it. But I knew that, real estate sales, like I don't look at it as sales. I look at it as education, like you're educating your clients to make a good decision. You don't sell them on something. So it was different.
So how old were you when you started in real estate?
27.
27. So what was it when you started? You're like, I'm going to do this different. This is going to be my thing that I'm going to do. Was there anything you're like, okay, you know what, this is going to be me when you got into it?
I probably like everybody when they're getting into real estate, you kind of, look at who the realtors are in town, what their reputations are. I started going to open houses when I had zero desire to, buy a house at that time. I just really wanted to meet people. I wanted to kind of see who they were. I wanted to learn more about, the industry in general. So, yeah, I knew kind of what I wanted to do, and who I really kind of wanted to be in real estate, and I put goals out for myself and just crushed them within like 2 years.
What were the main things that you wanted to be different than the existing agents in the business? Was there something? Was there a way that you marketed yourself? Was there a work ethic? Was it some of your, we'll just say, your overall approach to service? Was there something that you're like, I can do this better?
Yeah, I think, I mean, Chilliwack itself has always been a tad of a sleepy town. And I would say, there was no elevated service in Chilliwack. The average agent when I started was still taking pictures on their cell phones. I mean, you could see them sometimes, in the reflection of the bathroom mirror. There was really no effort being put in, and I could see that the service levels were not where they should be for what I would consider, to be excellent service. Everyone was just kind of doing the same old thing. There really hadn't even been a new realtor in town for probably 10 years before I got my license. So I knew that when I came into the industry, I really wanted to make a splash and I wanted it to be epic.
Yeah. Well, you definitely made that happen. It's interesting, when I started, I remember we were like marketing, exceptional marketing. That was our thing. My wife has a marketing background, and we saw, like, the same thing when it came to marketing. Photos weren't great, and feature sheets were black and white spec sheets. And I
Yeah.
remember we were like cutting edge at the time, because we created these booklets with the coil, and color,
Oh,
like
yeah.
big glossy color. And one of the most innovative things we did when we first started was, do you remember the CDs? It was like, for the youngins out there, it's like, what's a CD? It's like the CDs. We actually created like a slideshow from all the photos, kind of like a video at the time. It was slideshow, and then we burned that on the CD, and then we put the CD in a little plastic attachment to the back of the book. So when buyers came, they could take that with them and then plop the CD and the computer to see the slideshow of the
Yeah.
property. And it was like, that was cutting edge at the time. And obviously we've evolved through the years, but
Yeah.
yeah, I could see how that would have been, it was big for us when we started, that, clients, they wanted that great marketing. And sounds like that was a competitive advantage that you had when you started.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think I did, I definitely made some mistakes at the start, like we all do too. Like I think I focused so much on like wanting to be, that really professional, cutting edge realtor right away, without really understanding who I was in the industry yet. And in my first, I'd say 6 months, like I was contemplating quitting quite a few times. But I kept trying to be someone else. Like I was, trying to be super professional and be this person, and it didn't feel authentic. So I think once I actually just like dropped that and I was like, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I know who I am. I just need to be me. Then everything just took off.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because I think, like, it's interesting, because professionalism, that's actually something that is like, it's very rare in the industry. And it's something that I would imagine, would be very attractive, for clients wanting to work with you. But you had said, like, so you kind of transitioned. Was it, less professional, or is it more for yourself? It was just you more stepping into your own personality in the professional space? Or can you elaborate a little bit for the listeners?
Sure, yeah, like, I think, when I would meet clients, I would always be focused on saying the right thing. Like, I wouldn't, talk to them and get to know them, on a deeper level right away. I was just trying to focus so much on facts and just being very professional about, like, the steps, and these are the next things to do. Because I wasn't really confident in my skill set in the industry yet. I was confident in who I was, but I was letting that be overshadowed by me just trying to, spit out a bunch of facts all the time rather than actually getting to know my clients and getting to know, you know, them really deeply on, what motivates them, what they're really, after. It's stalled me.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really good. I would imagine that would come across, like, if you don't have the EQ, which we're going to talk about in a bit,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
emotional depth, it comes across as like cold,
I'm
data
comfortable.
driven, right? And that's not you like you one of your skill sets is EQ and in the emotional
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah. Yeah. And I found that once I dropped, like I might, and you're not going to know all the facts. You're not going to know everything when you first start. And of course, you never want to lie to anybody ever. So like if someone asks you a question, the best thing to say is that's a great question. And, I don't have that information right now, but I'll get back to you right away on that. But when you're so nervous, especially when you're starting, you just get yeah, you just get clamoured up by those sorts of things, and then your personality can't shine through.
Yeah, that's really good. We're going to circle back on the EQ side of it and how
Yeah.
important that is. When you started, Sarah, what how did you generate business when you first started, and has that changed through the years to where you are right now?
Yeah. So I will totally say that my entire business was built off of open houses. And I know there's a lot of people who hate doing them because it takes up your weekend, but I love doing open houses. I would do 4 to 6 a weekend. I would make sure that I got people's information. I would follow up with them all the time. And people just started seeing me out there all the time. And it was that consistency and that consistency with building connections with people. And really, being more comfortable in my own skin and skill set that built my business.
Yeah. That's so good. So your approach to open houses, would you do? Can you take us through a little bit of some of the high level process things? Like, would it just be consistent? Like, I'm picking 4 to 6 listings. Was that on other agents' listings if you didn't have them right off the bat? And then would you door knock ahead of time, or like just advertise it and then you would show up? Can you take us through a little bit about how you handled your open houses?
Yeah. So they would be for other agents, and I would really make sure that I studied the properties and I knew the market that was around. So, if people were asking me questions, I wouldn't, I could naturally answer. So I always did research ahead of time. I would have booklets there about recent sales in the area. Of course, I would have information about myself. But predominantly, what I've found to be very helpful with open houses is really, you're there to show the house, but you're there to build a connection with people too. Like people do business with people that they like. So make sure that you're personable, greet them, ask them about their day, and then take them through the house. But don't don't like glue on to them and be annoying and like over question them about certain things. Like you want to build a genuine connection with people.
Yeah, that's really good. And so, do you still do open houses today, or is that something
I
now in
do.
your past client? You do.
I do. Some people are shocked to see me and they're like, oh, I wasn't expecting you here. But I love it. And you know what? I like as a leader, I will never expect my team to do something that I'm not doing.
Yeah, that's good. So 180 million in sales volume a year, and doing that still, I think that's great. Being out talking with people and then leading from the front.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about open houses and dialogue when it comes down to the EQ skills that we had mentioned. Having conversations and then transitioning that over to an appointment and then getting into the negotiation side. What do you think it takes to connect with people when you're communicating at that deeper level versus like we were talking a little bit more about the super overly we'll say cold approach where you're not connecting at that deeper emotional level. Can you share a little bit of how you connect with people and how you're able to be yourself and build a relationship with people that are selling and buying one of their most valuable assets?
I think it really comes down to the difference between just listening and hearing people. Like when I meet with people, I really want to get to know them and I want to get to know what their goals are. And I'm not just sitting there listening to them for a point of them to stop talking so I can talk about myself. Like I'm really hearing them. I'm hearing them. I'm learning, when you see like a couple together, you can kind of understand, maybe one's the leader a little bit more, maybe they're the decision maker, who's spurring this move, does the wife want more room for the family? Or do they want to be closer to the grandkids? Like what is it that they value the most, and what is the purpose behind this, this move? Because if you don't understand the core reason on why people are making a move, you can get lost in the weeds very quickly, and then really waste your time, waste everybody's time, because you're not focusing on that goal. So like I really hone in on that and figure out what it is, on why they're making this move, and then continually and casually remind them of that during the process.
Yeah. It's easy for them to forget when an offer comes in on their house and
Yeah.
they're like $5,000 apart on it, and
Yeah.
they want to win, but they realize you got to like go bring it back to their why, right? Why they're making the move. If this deal doesn't come together, then they're potentially not going to get to you know spend time with the grandkids in another province, right? They're to move to that
Yeah.
spot that they want to move to. And I really like that, because I think that's one of the jobs as the real estate agent, is to help guide along, not like strong arm in any way, but to guide
Yeah.
and remind. Because like these home buyers and sellers, they don't do it every day, but we do, right? And so
Yeah.
the ability to be able to take somebody and navigate through and process their emotions as well, I think that's like next level professionalism. And I think there's like listening. You had said it so well, listening, waiting for them to stop talking so that you can speak. Or there's like next level where you're active listening and empathetic listening and giving them some space, and like even repeating it back so you get clear, like this is what it is. And they're like, oh no, yeah, and this and this. And it's like, as soon as you're able to have that dialogue and really truly understand and label, but I think a lot of times people don't even really know what it is they want. And so that's where it's like, that's part of a great agent, is revealing that outcome that they're really looking for, and then painting a picture of what that truly is.
Yeah. When I sit down with people for the first time too, like, and I have a kind of a, a client information sheet. I actually don't do it on the first meeting. I usually will go for a tour, with them, get to know them first. But when I'm, signing a listing, or, a buyer's agency contract, I'll sit there and I'll write down what they've told me, are their goals and their reasons in front of them, and like repeat that with them, and, make sure that I have that right, and it does solidify them as well. And I have had some people change their minds and a little bit of their dialogue at that time. So then I, kind of have to rejig a bit, and, and go back to the drawing board. But I think it's important for people to know that you care, and that you're going to be the one to get them the results that they need. And, and it also kind of transitions like throughout the entire process, because like they'll trust you, they trust that what is best for them, and that you're going to be leading them down the right path.
Yeah, that's really good. So when you meet a new client, so we'll call them a lead at an open house, is there anything you'd say to convert that to, say, an appointment to meet, for coffee or one-on-one, whether it's like a home buyer? I've even had it before in open houses where there were sellers in the neighborhood that are actually looking to hire an agent, and they're just coming to meet you to see if they'd like
Yeah.
you to come sell their sell their house. I'm sure you've had it.
Yeah.
How would you convert them to meet face to face to be able to take it to that next step?
I ask for the business. I think that's something that a lot of people get a little nervous about. But if someone's there, to meet me, or they're talking about their house, I'll just simply ask, would you like me to come over and give you an evaluation? I would be honored to. Like, I would be happy to come and meet with you and do this for you. I think that it takes, so let's just say it how it is, to actually go out and ask for the business, and be confident in that, and know, like, I can do a good job for you. Give me a chance.
Yeah. You said it so well. It's like, and be confident with the ask. It's interesting. I think a lot of agents get so caught up with, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? It's like, does not matter what you're going to say. Just say, what, let me come over for coffee. He's like, I'm going to come over. We're going to have a sit down. We're going to have a coffee.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to do. It's like, okay. But if you just say it confidently and coming from this place of love and genuine, like, I'm here to help, not desperation, but coming from a place of like, yeah, you said it so well, I'd be honored to come over. It's like, oh, okay. It was like, I'm not 100% I'm going to sell. It's like, no problem. Whether you decide now to sell or 5 years from now, that's okay. It's like, I'm going to be around in 5 years as well. And, if timing's not right, no problem. But let's see if this is the right time for you or not, and, guide you through. And then we can go over price, and, we go over all the fees and, all the expenses going with the sale, and we can do a net breakdown. It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even really matter what you say, but you said it. So I'll just ask for the order for the next step. I
Ask.
think a lot of agents is like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might come across a little pushy. It's like, they want you to ask them. Like, I
Yeah.
love being sold
Or
to.
some people don't do it just because they don't want to hear no. They're afraid of hearing no. And, you know, that alone will stall you so often. Like, you need to hear a bunch of no's and you need to get over it really fast. Because, like, the people that say yes, sure, they might not even be selling, like you're saying, Mark, but you're going and you're getting the experience, and you need to continue to get experience. Like, experience will trump so much in this industry because it will give you that confidence that you really, really need. And even if, you're going on showings and the people are saying, no, I might buy a house in a year, go on the showings, go out and learn what's on the market, go out and do your job, because they might not be buying, but their sister might. Or they might say, I really like how, Sarah was showing me houses. She's so great and was friendly. And then they're going to tell someone else. Like, I have received a lot of business through, referrals from people who I didn't really expect to do business with, but I wanted to go out and get that experience of, their appointments under my belt.
Yeah, that's really good. Getting no's and continuing to keep going. That is one of the things that you have a strong, there's a strong asset that you have, as well as your mindset, and thinking things in a certain way, right? Like, you can always look at things two ways, like a glass half full or a glass half empty. It's like, what's your pick?
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same thing. How do you, we'll say, what advice do you have for the agents that maybe currently see the glasses, half empty? They get no's and they get, beat up, and it takes them a bit to kind of get back in the race. What counsel would you have for them?
I like, let's be honest, like, this industry can be very depressing if you're going at it by yourself, and you're hearing those no's and you really don't have like a good team, or like a good support network to get you past that. Because you can get in a funk, and then you're meeting potential clients and you just have like this aura of, nastiness around you, and like no one wants to work with you. Like, it's very true. I think that surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, being on a very positive team is a powerful thing to have, especially when you're starting. I know a lot of people just want to go out there and do it on their own, and it's hard. It's just definitely hard to do. You need to have those people to bounce ideas off of and to be around good energy.
Mm. It's so interesting you say that, Sarah. We've seen this where agents that were doing extremely well with their team, and then they transition on their own, and you could see there's a
Yeah,
little bit of energy there at the beginning, but then what happens is, over time, when you're not around other high producers where everybody is going, and it's like they're going beside you, beside on the right and left of you, and everybody's hustling and going, and it's like you just go with the flow, and it's hard to kind of get into a funk when everybody around you is going towards, big goals, and you're seeing people do sales as well. And I think actually that's a huge advantage for agents, is to get around a group that's producing. They have great mindset. They're not negative about the market. There's no sales out there. It's like that stuff sticks on you. But being around like positive, hardworking people, that agents that are treating this like a business, and they're professionals, and that alone is like, it helps you get through the time where you had five sales all fall apart, right? And helps you to
yeah.
keep going year after year.
Yeah. Yeah. My office is fabulous. I might be a little biased, but yeah, no, we all are very like-minded. We are a no excuse type office. Excuses have no place in our building. That's for sure. We are all very accountable. We're very positive. We're very supportive of each other. Whether it be through business or personal things, because everyone's got stuff going on. But mistakes happen, and they're part of progress. Like avoiding responsibility is not. So when you're around people who can keep you going and keep you accountable and, be there to support you, you're going to thrive.
Mm, yeah, that's really good. I love that ownership mindset. That's a big one. It's interesting that I found that top agents are repelled by victim talk and negative talk. Right? I would imagine, Sarah, you walk in a room and you have an agent that's just like, Debbie Downer. It's like everything is bad in the market. There's no sales happening. I'm sure you're like, you don't even try to debate with them. You just like turn around and just walk away. It's like,
Yeah.
quick, get a
Yeah.
don't get
Well,
on me. Like, right? I would imagine you don't spend a lot of time when people are, agents or negative talk. I would imagine.
no, 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 no. We don't have any victim mentality in my office. That's for sure. I actually went on an appointment the other day. This was crazy to me because I'm talking about the market with my clients, and they were like, "Well, this is very uplifting because we had a realtor come by 2 weeks ago, and he was telling us about how terrible the market was." And how it was just an awful time to sell and all these things. And he was there on a listing appointment. And I just was floored that someone would come in there and just talk about how the sky was falling and the world was awful. And, but yet you're trying to, you're going there for a job. Like there's a way of presenting information without scaring the daylights out of people.
Yeah, that's so good. It is so good, especially in a down market, because that's all they hear in the news, right? Bunch of negative. Like they know what's happening. They don't need Debbie Downer to come in and tell them how bad it is. They want solutions. They want somebody that's positive. And it's interesting. We talk a lot about this as well when we're going in to homes. There might need to have a little bit of work, but we're not there to beat their house up, and we're not there to beat up the market. We're here to point out the positive things that are happening, to provide, we bring in a stager to help them with those items. But at the time of listing, we want to come with solutions and come with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And like you do that alone, you have such a competitive advantage compared to the other agents. Like I would imagine that they probably went with you over the other agent in that case. I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've always said it does not take an intelligent person to find a problem. It takes one to find a solution. And people pay us a lot of money to find solutions. And, I don't know why people, even when I'm, presenting an offer or counter offer or whatever it is, I will not start until I know and can kind of anticipate the path of which other outcomes are going to be. Like I come with multiple different solutions on how my clients are going to be picking things.
yeah, it's really good because I think a lot of agents, when you hit a wall, you're negotiating. You hit a wall, and it's like, oh, they're not coming up to the offer, right? And versus, okay, how can we make this a win-win? How can we think outside the box? What Do you have any examples of, things that you've done where, maybe most agents would have, that deal would have died, or you weren't able to get to the next, where you've come in and you came up with something creative? Can you give any examples that you've done in the past, or like this was like really good and helped us through?
I think yeah, I think a recent example would be a deal that we were doing last week, where the the other agent kind of came in, quite aggressively on their approach on, what was wrong, with my client's house. And it, I don't, I didn't like present the information exactly how they were telling me because I knew that it would insult them. So, fast forward a little bit of time, we end up being apart by about, I think it was about, $5,000 at that. And then I started bringing up kind of some of the little things that they were saying, and then going back to them, and I was asking the realtor about, why they were really interested in this property, if they thought it was really terrible. And, I ended up bridging the gap between the two parties by just actually, and it, like I was doing the other agent's job because I was telling them, reminding them why their clients wanted this property, even though they were telling me about all these things that were wrong with it, and, why they didn't want to pay the price, and they ended up coming up to it. So, I think that you kind of have to step up in those situations and just take the reins and realize that, you know, there's a lot of different emotions here. There's the two realtors involved, there's both parties involved. So you just kind of have to, everything that you can.
Yeah, that's a great example, Sarah. Thanks for sharing. And there's a couple of things that you said that it's really smart. And this is through the years negotiating thousands of sales. What I've realized, you said something, you said I filtered what they had said because it was insulting, right? And I think that's one of the things for agents. It's not to compound the problems that are being passed along to you. Your job is to filter and to
Yeah.
be able to communicate to your clients the necessary information. Of course, you want to be honest and truthful, but if the other agent's being, belligerent, they're being insulting, it's like if you're just an order taker, you're taking and then passing on to your client. That's not, to me, that's not first class service. Is like you want to be
No.
able to filter it, communicate back to your client, and be like, we'll call it like the bridge or the cool, calm, collective voice to be able to do that. And I think the best agents do that. And that's what creates a better experience because negotiations, everything is 10x. Like the
Yeah.
emotions are 10x. Communication is so critical. And I think the best
Yeah.
agents do exactly what you did.
Yeah, no, you have to. You need to filter things. And like you're saying, you don't, it's not about lying, it's not about, doing anything that's deceptive. It's just about making sure that the actual facts are there without all of the emotions getting involved
That's
too.
right. Yeah. Cause I think a lot of times, Sarah, you have agents that they complain about the other agent to their client. Like, oh, this
Yeah.
agent is like, I can't believe what he said about your house, and like this was crazy, and just like he's not even getting back to me, and he's like they're complaining to the client versus like filtering that and like keeping it like this is a potential buyer of their home. Let's not like taint or frame up the buyer as and the agent as this like enemy because they're going to get their back up. Like
Yeah.
uh, right. So I'm sure you've heard a lot of, I've seen that a lot with agents. The other
I
thing,
have find it to be very unprofessional.
right?
Like the clients shouldn't be thinking that there is a relationship, like a, kind of a negative relationship that's going to be impacting their deal. Like you should always be treating your colleagues with respect. It's always been something that I've done. Like I have great relationships with the agents in my town because I don't give up. I answer my phone. I'm there for deals. I want to respect their time because I expect that as well, and I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's interesting if you have an agent that's looking at your home and another home that is with an agent that's maybe not as easy to deal with, and the client likes them the same. The agent's going to be more gearing towards your your listing, and that's just a fact. Like
Yeah.
agents they go the path of least resistance, and if they have an agent that's horrible to deal with, they're going to steer away. And a lot of times it can even be subconsciously. So I think it's the best thing for your client to exactly what you said, build a relationship with the agent. I'm not talking about like being a pushover or a weakling. It's like, no, you earn respect as a deal maker, and being creative, not and still protecting your client as well. But like other agents respect that, and they'll want to do deals with you because they're like, this is a solid agent. They do a good job for their clients, but they're not going to just be a pushover in regards to they're not going to fight to not fight to get the deal done, so to speak. So
Yeah. Yeah. Like they don't, the best agents don't negotiate with their ego is what I can hear you saying too. Like they're there for the common goal of their clients. They're not there to try to prove a point. And I can't count how many times I've, negotiated, and I can tell that the agent's doing it because they want, they're changing extra things on contracts, they're treating me a certain way, and it's just because they want to, like show me up or something. And I let it happen. I let it happen gracefully, and they can think that they, got one over on me, but I ended up getting what I we were after for my clients, so I don't care.
Yeah. And that's actually, to me, the ultimate is where you can lower your ego, what's best, what you think, is best for you. You'll lower it, you'll take a hit to it for the benefit of the client. And I think that confidence is what makes the best agents the best, is one of the aspects of that. I also really like, you said it was very subtle, but it's so bang on. You said step up, you step up to the plate and make it happen. And it's like step up and lead is what I heard. And it's
Yeah.
like taking leadership when it comes to a deal maybe that's going sideways. And with all the parties, you said you have buyer's agents, listing agent, right? You got the seller, you got the buyer, and the thing that's interesting, like, I think that home sales are the Super Bowl of negotiation. And the reason for that is because, first off, we're selling their most valuable asset, so there's a high amount of motion. It's their home, right? And not only do you have the four entities that I just said, buyer, seller, agent, and then agent on each side, but you have home inspection, you have the parents, you have the kids, you have the brothers, right? You
Yeah.
have
Well, the
the
unsolicited opinions.
the mortgage broker. Geez, you got everybody with opinions and emotions that are
Yeah.
coming to the table that are influencing. And so and then you got, it's like an airplane, right? It's like you have the pilots standing in the aisle, which are like the agents, right? And they're yelling at each other, and a lot of them have their earmuffs on. They're not listening to each other, and then everybody's looking at them like the plane is going through turbulence, and everybody's scared, and they're like, "Come on, please get a deal together." Nobody's taking the seat
Yeah.
of the airplane and sitting and actually landing the plane. And that's what I heard you say is, step up and lead. And I think that backdrop, I think a lot of agents don't see negotiations that way. They see it more as, okay, it's just me against you, and we're going to get into a fight, and it's either you're going to win or I'm going to win, versus like having context of what's really happening behind the curtain. Is there's a
Yeah.
lot of emotion, there's a lot of people here, and your job is to step up and lead.
Yeah. There is a lot. And when I have an agent come to me and say, "Hey, my clients are, interested in putting an offer in," I always will ask questions. And I'm asking questions because I'm curious, and also for my future positioning and to help my clients. Oh, that's amazing. Tell me a little bit about your clients. And a lot of them will just start talking. And, I will save that information for when it matters. And not that I throw it in their face, but it's sometimes just a reminder for them too on how to get their clients across the finish line. And like that, it is, and it's not, about like loading their lips or doing things. It's just actually helping to guide people to what they actually are trying to facilitate, and what their actual goals are. I keep saying the word goals, but it's true. Like, there is a purpose behind people buying and selling. Like, moving sucks. We all know this, like, it's not a fun process. So it's why you have to find the whys.
Love that. Yeah, I tell our agents, is like, you should move every 5 years so you can be reminded on how much stress a move can actually be, right? So it
Yeah.
gives you more empathy when clients are going through that. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's really good. Really great conversation there. It's really important. And why I also love that, you're asking about the other client, because your client wants to know who the other party is too, right? I would imagine that, I know for me, it was like, that was big. It's like you're going in, a buyer brings in an offer. A lot of times the agent just emails it over to you. So I was always, I'd call the other agent and I would find out the story of the buyer and, financing and all the rest of it. But then when I go to the client and I sit down at the table, it's like I'm proactively telling, like, okay, this is, these buyers, this is John and Sally. Here's a little bit about their story. It's like the client
Yeah.
wants to know that. They want to know who's buying their house. And
Yeah.
And if you don't proactively do it, they're going to ask you. And so when you don't have the answer to that, they're like, "Did you even talk to the other agents?" Like, so you're doing that right now, is what you just said. I just wanted to highlight that because that comes with expertise, the understanding to do that. And you had mentioned curiosity as one of the things that helps you do that. So it's very good. Very good. All right. So your activity level is astounding. So you do over 200 transactions in a year. So you have some help, but you're the one out that is you're out selling. You know, you got buyers and sellers, and it's a huge amount of transactions. Like in my years when I was selling at a high level, like personally, I was doing with an assistant doing over 150. You're doing over 200. So what does
Yeah.
your day to day look like to be able to do that kind of transaction count in a year?
Lots of planning, not a lot of sleep, and a lot of gratitude for my team and my office. um, yeah, I'm very highly organized, very disciplined. So like I have lists on lists of stuff. I follow up, with everybody, and I hustle. I have always really been, a hustler. I think that to get like that level of business too, it's just about not giving up and not having those excuses. There if people are asking me, like, I don't turn away appointments, I don't say no to things. I I've learned to be very efficient over the years too, of you know when people are ready to write deals and when people are ready to list. So I think that that has really helped me, with my volume as well.
Can you take us through like a typical day for you? Like what time you up, what time you go to bed, and kind of what do you do in between as more of the kind of these are the main things that I focus on.
Yeah, so I'm usually up in the morning around 5:30. I like to exercise in the morning, so I try to do that a couple days a week. I definitely start my mornings with coffee and a lot of it. And then I go over my summary from the night before. So I kind of refresh my memory on what's going on. I look over my calendar and review everything that I'm doing the day, like that day of. I'll usually start meetings. I'll drop my daughter off at school. I'll start my meetings around, 8:30 or 9, and kind of dependent on the day. Sometimes I'm done at 6, from like actual meetings. And then I spend time with my family, and then I kind of do my night shift, as I like to call it. So I'm back in front of my computer generally until about 11 o'clock at night.
And then do you have any days off, or are you pretty consistent 7 days?
I take Sundays off. So Sundays, I do like to go to church. I like to have a day of rest. I will still be doing offers and things, but I call it to my, like, when I'm on appointments, I do tell people right away, hey, Sunday's my family day. I call it my Lululemon day. It's the day that I'm not meeting clients. I'm not doing my own open houses, but I am accessible by phone if we're doing offers.
Yeah, I think that's so good. I realize that Sundays you can actually be pretty flexible and still navigate and still be highly productive and not be scheduling, showings and offers now with DocuSign's pretty easy, right? You can do it if there's tight time frames. Back, a number of years ago, I'd have to go out, right? And it's just like a quick time frame, and you got to go drive to the person's house, and that's changed now with DocuSign. So I really like that. I like how it's like, okay, I'm going to go hardcore, and then Sunday I can actually we'll say recharge the battery, which is really
Yeah.
really important as well.
Yeah, I've found that, taking care of myself, eating healthy, drinking a lot of water, and limiting social, like, drinking and those sorts of things. Like, I'm just way more productive and I feel better. And I think that, like, your body is a machine, and you have to give it the right gas and you have to treat it right. So I really take care of myself. So I am there for not only my family and myself, but for my clients too.
Yeah, that's good. So it was interesting as I was producing more and more, I realized that I was worth a certain amount per hour. And then I started hiring hiring out, like somebody to cut the grass and somebody to shovel the snow. And like my life, all of a sudden, I'm just focusing more and more on the business, the higher productive activities. And so, for you, has there been any sort of hacks or productivity things you're like, oh my goodness, like this has been so much better for me. Like I'm able to stay more focused and I'm able to get more done in less time. Are there any sort of hacks that you've implemented through the years?
I mean, I don't know if I would call it a hack, but I mean, the art of delegation has definitely helped me to, to be more successful in my career, and also like just my personal life. Like there's, when I'm talking about like my night shift, like I don't have to do it every single night now. I have learned, but like that delegation came through being able to actually trust my team. And I think, that can be very difficult for, for people who are at really high levels as well. You need to find people that you trust, because without that, you're just going to be triple checking things and making more work for yourself. Well, yeah. But once I was really able to do that, I mean, I can actually go away on vacations now. I can trust my partner, with my actual phone, answering clients, going on appointments. I can actually shut off, which is obviously very lovely for me, but it gives me that recharge to come back and just kick
Mm,
ass.
yeah, I love that. You're pretty competitive, it seems.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's
Yeah,
probably an understatement.
yeah. That's actually it's interesting. The top agents I've seen out there, they love to compete. And it's like it's like excellent when it comes to like EQ and having conversations and connecting with people, but they like to win and they work hard for it. And so I think that's very healthy. It's like you're playing a game. This is like a game, right? You got to play, but there's very high stakes. And the best way to win the game is to take the best care of your clients. Uh, right. And that's like that's fun, right? It's like this is a short life. You might as well have fun and play something that's fun, and that's what real estate is to me as well. And I see
Yeah.
you see that too.
Oh, totally.
So, Sarah, one of the things that I mean, your strength and your mindset, right, is really it's helped you through the years. For the agents that are currently in the dumps, right? They're down. They feel like getting out of the business. Maybe they're just having like the last 6 months have been really, really not great, or they've just recently gone through something that was, we'll say took a lot of the steam momentum out of their sales. What actions or activities would you suggest for those agents to be able to turn it around and get momentum starting to work for them and starting to get back on the right track?
Um, I would really say to, to get a mentor, and someone that you really respect. You know, don't take advice from people that you would not change positions with. Find someone that you really respect and spend time with them. I find that people are good people really do want to help others. So if someone is struggling and they want to succeed, those people who are, they're, that they look up to will want to help them out, and they just need to be around that positive energy and just to keep going. Like even though you might not be getting that sale, like keep doing something. If you're not doing anything, you're not going to get results. It's like the good old Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And it's true. Like you just have to keep going and know that something is going to stick and things are going to pan out, and just have faith in yourself. Because if you are doing the right things will happen.
Mic drop. Well done. Uh, we're going to jump into that's a great way to wrap it up before we get into rapid fire. So I have three last questions for you, Sarah, and then we're gonna finish this. You ready?
Sure.
All right. So
Oh boy.
I'm a big reader. I love reading books. Which book for you has made the biggest impact in your career?
How to Win Friends and Influence People. Good old Dale Carnegie. 1930s book. I've read it probably 15 times. It's just a fabulous book to, to teach people about the importance of kindness, of being genuine, of being authentic. I think that everyone should read that, whether it's for business, friendship. It's just a fabulous book.
Yeah. Powerful, powerful book,
Yeah.
100%. All right. Second question here is, what are three words that best describe you?
So are these like business type words
Well,
in
whatever
my
you want.
business?
Yeah, whatever you
Um,
want.
I would probably say relentless. Could be like borderline obsessive, perhaps, but it's just mainly about getting deals done. Like I again, I don't like hearing the word no, so it's just that intensity. I this sounds kind of funny, but humble. Oh, I'm the best at being humble. But just realizing that I'm human. Everyone makes mistakes, and no one's better than someone else. So I would say that that would be a word that would describe me. And accountable. Yeah, I'm very very accountable, and I have found that to be a big reason for my success.
Yeah, those are three great words for a highly productive agent. So, relentless, humble, and accountable. Uh, is it because, real estate, it's simple, it's not easy, right? And so I think that people in general like to do business with other people they like, and humility and humbleness, and, wanting to win, and, just showing up every day, being accountable. I think those are some of the linchpin pillars of successful
Yeah.
agents. So
Well, I might be sitting here with my hair curled and looking all fancy, but like this is, I live in a farming community. Like I'm in the crawl spaces, I'm on the septic inspections. Like I will do everything.
yeah, very cool. Well, I'm sure the clients really appreciate that, and seeing you do that. That's great. Final question I have for you, Sarah, is what final advice would you have for the real estate agents out there to take their business to the next level?
Be authentic. Yeah, really. Like just be you. You always want to work with people who really know you and like you. So if you're not showing them who you are, you're going to be working with the wrong types of people. And there is nothing that will suck the life out of you more than working with the wrong people.
Yeah, that's great advice. Well, Sarah, this has been an excellent conversation, and inspiring for the agents that are out there listening today. Uh, what's the best way if they want to reach out to you? Perhaps maybe they want to join your team, or maybe they're outside of your province and they want to send you some referrals, right? Either a buyer or seller in your area. Maybe you could share the area again that you service, and then what's the best way they can personally reach out.
Sure. Yeah. Honestly, reaching out to me via email. I'm actually one of the realtors that actually put my personal cell phone number on all my billboards and signs. So, I'm always open for helping people and obviously for referrals too. We love referrals. So yeah, email or call, and we do service the Chilliwack area all the way into Vancouver. So Chilliwack and Lower Mainland, predominantly Chilliwack, but we help out everywhere.
Amazing. Sarah, congratulations on your success, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
And thank you. And congratulations to you too, Mark. I appreciate your time.
Right on. And thank you, everyone, for listening today. If you enjoyed it, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel and share it with any other real estate agents that you think will benefit from it. I love you guys, and keep on going full out.